Tonight, Carla, I'm doing steamed Brussels sprouts coated with a little bit of butter and olive oil and topped with some Italian breadcrumbs. And these are really delicious and tasty and good for you. And they're not god-awful smelly things like a lot of people are used to when they eat Brussels sprouts or when they think of Brussels sprouts. So I hope you like this. And I'm going to show you how to make it right now. Here's what we need to get started with the Brussels sprouts recipe. Obviously, we need Brussels sprouts, fresh Brussels sprouts. We're going to need some butter, some olive oil, and some Italian style breadcrumbs. That's it. That's all the ingredients we need. First thing we're going to do is we're going to trim and clean up the Brussels sprouts, and I'm going to slice them in half. But we'll do that, and then we'll come back and continue on with the recipe. Now what I'm doing to trim the Brussels sprouts is I'm just cutting off the stem end like that, and then I'm taking the Brussels sprout and I'm just cutting it in half, trying not to cut myself in the process because they do have me on blood thinners now and I don't want to bleed out in the kitchen, so I'm trying to be very careful, klutz that I am. And just putting them in a colander. I'm using the colander as basically a steamer device. I do have a wok with a steamer insert that I could use, but a lot of people don't, so I'm just showing you what I did for years and years and years before I got that. I'm using the colander as basically my steamer insert. You can use a plastic colander, you can use a metal colander, doesn't matter. I'm using the plastic one today because it's got lots of spaces in it that'll let the steam come up into it. So I'm just going to go through, clean these, and notice I'm just kind of stacking them around the edge of the colander. Alright, I've got the Brussels sprouts all trimmed and halved, and what I did, if you can see this without me tipping it over, is I basically lined the colander with the Brussels sprouts. So basically put them all around the edges. As I tilt this, they're falling over, because I want maximum contact with the steam that we're going to get to steam these. So I just basically put them around the edges like that to get contact with all the open spaces when we steam them. So I'm going to change the camera angle and we're going to move on. Okay. In the little saucepan right here, I have put equal amounts of butter and olive oil and just basically melted the butter into the olive oil. We're going to toss the Brussels sprouts in this when they're done cooking. So just over low heat, just so the butter melts and gets incorporated in with the olive oil. You can use just olive oil if you want to, or you can use just butter if you want to. That's up to you. I like a combination of both. Now in my stock pot, same pot I used to make the soup in, I've got about that much water at the bottom. The colander is going to sit on top. So these are never going to touch boiling water. They're just going to steam from the boiling water that's coming up. So take the lid off of that. And I'm going to take, and it doesn't hurt it that this is a plastic colander. I'm just going to sit that on top. I'm going to put the lid on it, like so. Set my timer 10 minutes. And those are just going to steam. I think a reason a lot of people don't like Brussels sprouts is because they had Brussels sprouts served to them as children that were severely or morbidly overcooked or boiled. You should never do that to Brussels sprouts or any cabbage, as a matter of fact. When you overcook them, the cabbage or the Brussels sprouts start releasing sulfur, and that's what gives it that nasty smell, that nasty taste, and all that. Doing it this way, that's not going to happen. We're going to cook them very quickly with steam. They're going to turn a bright green, they're going to have a nutty flavor, and they're going to be really delicious. So let those go for no longer than 10 minutes, and then we're going to take them off the heat. Okay, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. 10 minutes are up. Take the lid off, put that in a safe place, and move the camera around so you can see this. You'll notice Brussels sprouts are now a bright green, and that's the way we want them. If you cook Brussels sprouts and they turn into olive green and start looking like army camouflage, throw them away because you've killed your Brussels sprouts. Just serve like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or something instead. So we're going to take these off the heat now, and I'm going to transfer these into a bowl, and then we're going to put the butter and the olive oil in, and we'll continue on. Hang on 1 second. Okay, I've transferred the freshly steamed Brussels sprouts into a bowl. I'm going to take the butter and olive oil mixture and just kind of pour that over it, and then we're going to kind of toss it to coat them. Put them away. Just kind of stir them around a little bit to get this all tossed together, like such. Okay, and then to serve it, take my serving bowl here. Put a good heaping spoonful of the Brussels sprouts in there, like so. And then we take breadcrumbs and just sprinkle a little bit of the breadcrumbs over the top, like that. And they are ready to eat. Okay, so steamed Brussels sprouts, not overcooked. They almost have like a nutty flavor to them. They've got some crunch to them. They're not overcooked. They're not sulfurous and smelly and god-awful tasting. They're really, really good. Carly, you told me that Terrence doesn't like Brussels sprouts. Maybe he's never had them cooked correctly. So maybe you can get him to try one of these. I think I might be able to get Joseph to eat one of these if I tell him it's a baby cabbage, because he will eat cabbage. But there you go. It's really quick, it's really easy, and they are really, really delicious served this way. So, hope you like this.